I'm tired and weary, but I'll still soldier on and right on until the end of the road. I will never succumb to the death of freedom and liberty in my native land. But having sat through all of the parliamentary proceedings of the passage of the Terrorism Act, having interviewed the Honourable Craig Murray, for example, the British ambassador arrested at Edinburgh Airport under terrorism legislation, having interviewed Richard Medhurst, Kit Clarenberg, and others who have faced the very same as I and my good wife Gayatri faced at Gatwick Airport yesterday morning, I can only say that up close and personal and in real life, it's way, way more ugly than it ever seemed before. To hear the words spoken by an armed policeman, his jacket off so you can gaze at his sidearm, that you are not under arrest, but you are not free to leave. To hear the words spoken, you do not have the right to remain silent. To hear the words spoken, that if you do not comply and cooperate and answer any and all of my questions, you will be automatically committing an offence under the Act. That's when I really knew that liberty in England, in Britain, in this once proud democratic country, a country that for many centuries boasted of the Magna Carta, many centuries boasted of its reasonableness, of its moderate nature, and castigated all others around the globe for falling short of our standards. That's when I knew that we as a country are in serious trouble. That a 71-year-old, 7 times elected British Member of Parliament, a Member of Parliament until last year, and across 5 different decades, the leader of a legal British political party with hundreds of thousands of votes, and the presenter of virtually the biggest political current affairs show in the Anglosphere, in the Western world, I could end up with 2 armed police officers in a sealed room in an airport in England for no reason at all. Well, there is a reason, but it is not the reason that they stated. We were questioned, myself for around 4 hours, Gayatri for around 5 hours, and then released without charge. For what charge could there possibly have been? How could we, me and Gayatri, have anything to do with terrorism? How? Well, we certainly were not enlightened during the collective 9 hours of questioning. Not a single effort was made to show cause for having detained me and her with armed officers in public in an English airport. Not a single question. And they ranged far and wide, right down to Gayatri's famous fingernail, painted in the Palestinian colours. Why? Why is your fingernail painted in the Palestinian colours? What's your attitude to the conflict in Gaza? Who persuaded you of this point of view? Why do you admire Mr. Lavrov? Why are you so friendly to China, a country with which Britain maintains absolute and full diplomatic relations, and every big company in the United Kingdom is doing business with China, and we're not? They would dearly love to be. What does that have to do with terrorism? What are my views on Xi Jinping have to do with terrorism? What are my views on Lavrov have to do with terrorism? What does Gayatri's fingernail have to do with terrorism? Well, of course, you all know the answer is nothing at all. the reason why they detained us at the airport under the terrorism legislation, assuming that they already know that we are unintimidatable. If they don't know that, they're too stupid to be anti-terrorism police. They're too stupid to be in MI5 if they think they can intimidate me. Not even death will intimidate me. So assuming they know that, there is only one reason why they detained us there under that legislation. It was to gain access to our communications, to confiscate phones, to confiscate laptops, and to enter and burgle and see what they can do with our private communications. They asked me for a password for a phone that was not mine. I said, I don't have the password. But if I did, I wouldn't give it to you. I wouldn't. They said that would be an offense under the Terrorism Act. I said, well, here's my defense to it. Number one, I was, until last year, a member of Parliament. I'm in possession of vast amounts of confidential correspondence concerning my constituents, including constituents with troubles with the Greater Manchester Police. Secondly, I am a journalist and a broadcaster, as well as the leader of a British political party. I have contacts, sources in the police itself, in the security service itself. I have contacts in the civil service, in the parliament, even in the government. Do you really think that I would betray my sources to you? You really think I'd put all these people in trouble at the mercy of you? And thirdly, and I'll move past this one swiftly, I am a litigant in a major, globally significant court case against Twitter, against Elon Musk, before the Dublin High Court. The case is at a critical juncture. You really think I'd give you access to such crucial, legally privileged and confidential information? But as it happens, I don't know the password. So I'm not refusing to give you the password. But if I knew the password, I would refuse. At that point, they could have charged me, but they did not. And we were released without charge. But not before I missed the speech I was to give at a meeting in central London in the presence, amongst others, of the ambassador of the aforementioned People's Republic of China. The meeting went very well in any case. My apologies to the organizers and to His Excellency, the Chinese ambassador. But it's come to something when a man like me, a man with the profile that I have, can be stopped by armed policemen at an English airport, held together with my wife for 9 hours, missing the engagement that I had come to London to perform, and having to make that weary journey back on the train with no phones, with no laptop, incommunicado, unable to speak with any of our family, any of our comrades, any of our friends, or any of our legal representatives. However, that latter point has now been resolved, and tomorrow Gayatri and I will fly to Belfast for a consultation with my lawyer, the esteemed Kevin Winters of KRW Law, and a press conference will follow at 4 p.m. in the KRW conference room in Belfast. I advise everyone to pay close attention to it, because I will be then making announcements of quite considerable importance.